You know that expression, better late than never? Well, I am definitely late to the pilot Kakuno party, but better late than never having to experience this cute little beginner fountain pen. Why? Why did I wait so long to give this a try? Well, luckily, thanks to one of my Instagram friends, we did a holiday gift swap and this was included in my package. I was so excited to give this a try, and you guys, getting off work, I use this all day at work, and I could not wait to get home and to give you my just real first impressions of this. I'm sold. I love this thing. And you guys know I rave about my TWSBI pens, okay? I thought the Eco was very friendly for beginners. It still is, but budget-wise, you can't beat this Pilot, the Pilot Kakuno. And the funny thing is, a lot of my fountain pen friends in the beginning of my journey back in 2019, there were a few that recommended this, but the look of this, it wasn't the clear body exactly. I think I saw like maybe, was it the Kakuno family? I don't know. It just seemed very childish. Like it felt like it was too beginner friendly for me. And I wanted something that felt a little bit more mature, that was worth my financial investment, because I did intend on using these at work. So hence why the TWSBI Diamond is, the one that I always raved about and I love, because this is the one that got me in the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole. But if I had, because my very first fountain pen was the Pilot Metropolitan, followed by the Lamy Safari. And while I did love the Pilot Metropolitan, the look of it just seemed very old-fashioned for my preference. And I distinctively remember what's it called, the threading on it was very uncomfortable for me. So while the nib, I do remember it being like a smooth writing experience, it didn't pull to me. So long story short, had I started with this as my very first beginner fountain pen, you know what, I think I may have been I think I may have been a Pilot girly. I may have went down the Pilot rabbit hole, but I'm still thankful for my TWSBIs. But I really do think maybe the Pilot would have been my first love, especially if it was the Kakuno. And even though the look of this is just so like unassuming and it just looks kind of simple, I think that's the appealing thing about it. It's just very low risk. It's not intimidating, and it's so easy to use. So while this isn't a proper formal review, it's really just me oohing and eyeing over this cute little fountain pen for under $20. And yes, I think this is the one I'm going to recommend those that are just starting off. This is specifically in a fine nib. Look at that cute little face on there. From my understanding, the Kakuno line, they have like these cute little faces, these character faces. Can you guys see? Oh my goodness. I love this. And this is the box that it came in. Okay, I will give you my first impressions and do a little ink like sample. But the box, it looks like this, and you can get the different nibs. She got me the fine, which I think is a solid, safe spot. And while the ink, it comes like with the standard cartridge, I think this is perfect because you can just snap it and go. So it looks like this, and then you take it out here, and it's so beginner friendly because the way that this pen comes, you have the cap in here, and then the body is in here, and then I think the cartridge, or what did the cap? Yeah, and the cartridge was like right here. And then all you do, you get this out of the bag and you literally just pop it in, and then the ink just gushes through the feed and it is ready to go. So I took this to work I used it all day because, again, I was thinking like, let me just try it out. Let me see how it is. I loved it. I could not. I was finding every excuse to like write notes, take notes, scribble, scrabble all over the place. And I could not wait to get home to try this on my Midori paper and on my Hobonichi. So a few things, my first impressions that I remember distinctively with this fountain pen was how smooth it wrote. And I now understand why people are partial to pilots. I can see why. Where did I put the lid? Did I misplace it? Let me get a notebook here, and then we can, I left it in the box, and we can do a little swatch. And then I'm going to show you some inks that I have in mind. So starting off, let's try the it's not Tomo River anymore because it's a new formula. But let's try this Hobonichi. And I'm going to use the A5 Cousin just because you guys know I've had some mixed feelings about this paper. This year, I find that the paper quality, it did not hold up as well as I was hoping for my heavy hitter inks, like my medium nibs and my darker inks. But I want to show you how this Pilot, it's a fine nib, so let's see how it goes. Let me bring it up closer. And then I'm going to try it on my Midori. So I'll just do it right here. It's just easier. Pilot. Kakuno. Even though it's a fine nib, it feels like it's like a 0.5, 0.7-ish kind of nib. Like I thought it was going to come out finer, but it's perfect for me. And this is a fine nib. I get so nervous writing on camera. Okay, that's crooked because I'm trying to write at an angle. But I just love how smooth this writes. Okay, let's just pretend I'm writing some words here. I like this. I like this so much that I am going to... Okay, it's not too bad on the Cousin. But let's try the Midori. I'm going to get the medium nib. Let me know if you guys have experience with this or with Pilot. Are all Pilot nibs the same, by the way? Because I have been really curious about the Pilot 823 everyone has been raving about. And do I need that? Do I need that if I have this? Okay, so just to show you, I already wrote here on my Midori. This is the one that has 365 pages. Chef's kiss. This is perfect. This is smooth. I love it so much. Better than the Hobonichi paper, the new Tomo River paper. So I'm just going to write, let me just write right here. I'm going to say testing. Oh, it's kind of uneven because it's at the edge. Testing. This ink just comes out so nice. I'm just scribbling here. if I like this in a fine nib, I know I will probably really love it in a medium nib. So thanks to my Instagram friend for this gift exchange. Jenny, I love this so, so, so much. So what can I say? You guys, I'm really just mad at myself that I took so long to give this a try. I don't want to say I underestimated this pen, but I just didn't give it another look because it just seemed too kiddie-ish, you know? It's so light. It's so like lightweight because of the plastic body. I like that it's clear because then I can see the color of the ink. Now, what Jenny recommended was to get the Pilot converter. I think she said 70. So that way I can fill it up with my own ink, which I plan on doing. But because this is, again, like low risk type of fountain pen, I can just chuck it in my bag, but I'm going to take this to work. I can leave it on my desk. If someone swipes it, it's not really going to be a huge financial loss. When I go traveling, I don't have to be perfect and like delicate with it, because what I was doing right now was using my little, this is by the Galen Leather Company, their zipper pouch, but I was, because this is an $80 fountain pen, this is, how much is it now? This is like $30, $35. I mean, it's not as expensive as your typical fountain pen, but to just regular ballpoint and gel pen users, it's a hefty price for just one pen, $30. I remember when I started my journey, I thought that was so expensive. So I definitely want to take care of my fountain pens, and this is how I would transport them. I would make sure they were in some type of little protective pouch, or I also have, this case. This is the new Galen zipper case that they came out with. So if you're going to like pen shows or meetups, you have to be careful because these are definitely some investments here. This pouch I like because you can remove it, but it's also magnetic. So anyway, this I can just throw in and like throw in my bag. But because the body is clear, this is a fun way to have a variety of colors at a very like budget price point. So that was one appealing thing about the TWSBI, was that I could see the color of the ink through the body of the barrel right here. And I like that. I thought that design was very unique, very different from the traditional fountain pen styles that I was used to, such as like, the Lamy Safaris, the Pilot Metropolitans, and a lot of like the older fountain pens that, like my parents and my grandparents use. So I thought that was just so like modern and fresh and different. So I gravitated, and I was just so in awe with the TWSBI. Especially here you can see my Vert Empire. So the Kakuno, I like this because I can put different color ink in there with the converter. And this, I'm just really surprised how smooth this fine is. I don't really know what else to say. I guess just I'm sad that I didn't try this sooner. And if someone is looking for a great beginner fountain pen, definitely add the Kakuno to your must try, because I think for the price point, however much you find this for, I think it's definitely under $20. So whether you find it for $15, $12, $9.99, it's worth it. And the feel of truth be told, the feel of this fine nib is kind of comparable to my TWSBI fine nib, the $80 one, or this is a medium nib, but like this one, a $30 one. So I feel like it's pretty comparable. It's, if not spot on. I love the snap, how that cap is. And oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't have the proper words to communicate effectively how cute this pen is. I just wanted to give you guys like my first day real raw impression of this, and say that I am officially on the Pilot bandwagon. Like I love Pilot again. I think my love for Pilot has been revived, and I'm going to give the other Kakunos a look. Specifically, the medium nib. Now here are some colors, some inks that I am thinking about adding. Definitely let me know what your favorite colors are that you would recommend. I typically don't gravitate towards blue or like blue pens. I don't know why. Maybe I just haven't found the right one, but I realize I don't really like blue unless it leans towards gray. And so I printed out, this is from the Van Ness website. I printed out because they offer samples, which is another way to see if you like the properties of the ink or the shimmer before fully investing in like a full-size bottle. This is me personally. I wish I would have known this starting off in my fountain pen journey, that there are retailers that offer samples. So you don't have to spend $20 a pop or $30 a pop. You can invest in little samples here, like $2, $3, and then get to familiarize yourself with brands, because each ink brand is different. And not only is the nib important with your fountain pen, but I quickly realized that you can use the same pen with the same nib, but it will perform differently with different brands of inks. So if you use a Sailor ink, if you use Diamine ink, if you use Pilot, some may be wetter, drier, smoother. And I fell in love with Robert Oster after using the Cafe Crema in this is the TWSBI Eco Bronze. This was my number one favorite pen purchase of 2024. These two were my favorites. Anytime anyone talked about fountain pens and asked me for my opinion, even though I'm still a newbie, okay, I only just started this in 2019, so I'm not as experienced as those in the fountain pen community, but I always recommended TWSBI. I felt like it was a safe go-to, and it had the large ink capacity if you are a daily writer like I am. But again, now I'm going to recommend this Pilot. You guys get the Pilot Kakuno. And is it interesting how sometimes I don't want to say like cheap, because I feel like the quality is like really good, but financially, like sometimes the cheapest thing turns out to be like the best thing. And that was one of the themes I noticed in this year for me personally. The things that I had low expectations for turned out to be the best experience or the best performing for me. So here are some inks that I have on my list. If you have experience with these or recommendations or suggestions or alternatives, I'm all ears. But as you can see, a lot of them are Robert Oster because I had such a great experience, and I think I want to try different colors, and I want to try in the Pilot fine nib. So let me know, if Robert Oster inks are the way to go. And me personally, I feel like they are similar. The Robert Oster inks are similar to Diamine, where it's like wetter and not so dry like Sailor. But there were some Diamine colors that I really liked, but they were out of stock. So this is what I have. If you just want to kind of glance over it, this is the brand, this is the name of the ink, and then I like how they have these samples. So I know sometimes the ink samples are different on screen than in person. This Silent Night I'm kind of debating on, because this really reminds me of my Diamine Earl Grey, and it kind of reminds me of my Sailor Mono pen ink I already have, so I'm not sure. But I thought this Muddy Wine was beautiful, Red Wine, Claret, like all these inks. I'm noticing too that this year I like muted colors. Maybe that's why I like this. And I'm entering like kind of like this muted brown era. I'm really liking brown. I think this was such a fun experience. I want some type of like brownish tint to like my inks. So a lot of these, like this Americano brownish, like this is kind of the Summer Storm. It's like purple brownish, charred hickory. This green I'm not sure if I'm going to get that, but like this brown pink African gold. Actually, I'm not going to get African gold anymore because I have honeybee. I actually purchased the Robert Oster honeybee that I'll show you guys in my next video. So right here you can see a lot of brown undertones. Like even this pink squirrel, I like it because it kind of looks like a pink brown. Okay, so that is that. My unofficial, pretty much my declaration of love for Pilot, again, revived with this simple little Kakuno. Only my fountain pen friends, you know, you get it. We geek out over stuff like this. So do you think I should take the plunge for the 823? No, I should slow my roll, right? I'm jumping in too fast. Let me get a couple more of these in fine and medium. But be honest, if I got the 823, if I invested in that, is it life-changing, or do you find that the nib is pretty comparable to the Kakuno and I'm only really paying for like is it real gold, the gold nib or the resin? Like, is the nib experience the same? Let me know, because if it is, then I'm okay with this plastic body, to be honest, because for me, it's always the things that are a low risk that I find myself using often. If it's something that I spend a lot of money on, I don't use as much or as freely because I'm afraid to break it, to lose it, to use it all up too quickly. So this I already know is going to be my daily writer for the rest of this. Well, we only have a couple of days left in this month, but I'm going to use this like all of January. And let me know what your favorite fountain pen is at the moment, or your favorite ink, and I will look up your ink recommendations and add them to my sample list and maybe swatch them in a video if you're interested.